Waltz.
One of the biggest industries on the planet, American single-family homes are ready to adopt Bitcoin as an accepted payment and liquidity, opening up the door to a $120 trillion market. Ethereum and alts are seeing the largest suppression of their entire history, and Joe Rogan might just be in extreme danger. All this and more on today's Blockchain Basement. Isaac, how the hell are you doing? I know
I'm doing quite fabulous. Very
it
busy
seemed
day.
like you were in danger this morning. Okay, I've been trying to get in. I put in a trade this morning. It got stopped out, covering my entry point. There's a big trade. Isaac, you know what? I'm gonna find another entry point. We're gonna take a look at the charts here today. Bitcoin looking like it needs a little bit of a reset, and God, it feels like altcoins will go to zero if Bitcoin loses 100K. This is what we're looking at here for this morning. So this green line is actually kind of built up on the 4-hour. An interesting spot for me. It's at $106,500. Right below that, incidentally, at another 500 mark is $105,500 is the main point of control here. But as I said, the 4-hour looks like we need to take a little bit of a beating for morale to improve. So we're going to be taking a look at this. I really think that, I put in a short that made a little bit of money yesterday, and I was looking at just a little bit of rollover weakness. So now I'm looking at where's the stopping point? Where does the pain end on Bitcoin so we can get back to making up into the right business here? Starting to get my feet wet in it. It's not a bad move. And actually, it's really fun because when you win in shorting, that the price of Bitcoin goes lower and lower. So we're figuring it all out here. Looking at the charts, these are the levels that I'm watching at. And we actually did touch this $106,500 for a moment here. Just moving 100 miles a minute on you guys. This is the liquidity levels, just to cover all this before we get into the rest of the show. 106,462, and then 106,306. Woo! What a crazy day. Isaac?
Sir.
I had a little bit of an issue this morning. Okay.
What was your issue? You had a couple
I was going to wait to talk about this until later on the show, but it was a tough morning. We had a bunch of baby chicks in the eggs under mama bird. Okay. I got 8 of them are out, and I've lost a few chicks. There's not going to lie. I've been dealing with losing chicks, and really the kids really took it hard. So I've been having to console the children on the lost baby chicks all morning. It's been a little bit heavy. It's been a little bit hard. If you have chickens out there and you've gone through this, you know what I'm talking about here. But you know what? I'm going to say hello to the chat here. We got all kinds of awesome people here. Sufficient enough. Good to see you, man. I'll be out in Colorado real soon. Papa Guth, Madman Manuro, Alana Ho, asking to collaborate with the channel. How so, Alana Ho? Freedom Guy, 1776. Who else we got up in here? Zach Nasty, always looking for a way to get banned. Big Hands Dan, my man. What is up, dude? Laserface, Jim Browning, all the peeps. MC has been doing some great trades with us in the Discover Investments Group Discord as well. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to you. I think he's in the same spot as me. We were looking for a little scalp to the upside. Got stopped out slightly in profit. We're protecting the trades. We're playing it safe. We find the good entry points. If it works out and continues to work out, great. We make 50, 100%. Isaac, I could make 10, 20% all day, and I think I need to start pulling the trigger on those more so than not.
Indeed.
Yeah, I really think so. So now, if you're already, make sure to follow me on Twitter at Druth Crypto. And also Isaac does crypto. He's out there doing crypto all the time.
All the time.
You got more testing to do though this week, don't you? For the military?
Oh, I leave right after the show.
Yeah. Right after the show.
I'll be back till Monday.
Holy
also,
God.
Welcome in BitLab people, and also shout out everybody in the Rumble. We have some people in Rumble. Let me pull the names. Lolo 08 and Daniel. I see y'all.
Shout out to the Rumble peeps, man.
Yeah.
I need to make sure I pull up Rumble's our channel on Rumble too, because we got all kinds of stuff going on. I got to make sure I don't miss your guys' chat. But make sure you're following Isaac. He's out there doing good, growing up, becoming all grown up on me. And really, I respect what you're doing a lot. You're heading into the military. You're going to better yourself. It's been very, very cool to see. Now, if you aren't already, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for joining OG status and becoming a member of the channel as well, Kryptoni. For everyone else that's not already a member, hop on into the YouTubes here, subscribe, and then you could join as a member here. We got the membership tab. And I'm going to start doing some more membership shows as things start to get more calm, and I say that things are going to get more calm. They probably won't. But make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you are supporting the channel here. We work hard for you guys every single day. Now, we covered the Bitcoin chart where things are sitting right now. Kelly walking by me with a seasoned piece of meat. Unbelievable. Slapping his face with the meat. Okay. The altcoins. Aggravating, right? We have Bitcoin barely up, or barely down, rather. And altcoins are taking a bludgeoning. Once again, these freaking altcoins are taking a bludgeoning. It feels like if Bitcoin loses 100K, Cardano's going to 5 cents. It's been aggravating.
Very aggravating.
Yeah, heard Isaac's going to be a cook in the army.
I'd rather die than cook in the army. Okay.
Oh my God. The altcoins, let's see what we got here. So BitGet token, exchange tokens doing decent. Bitcoin Cash, hate everything. Syrup still up. That's great to see. And Aptos and Say on the conversation points for potentially being adopted by Wyoming for their Wyoming stable coin. We'll see how far that makes it in. And you know what? A side thought that I had this morning is with this Genius Act and the government laying out the framework to allow stablecoin integrations, pretty much across the board, but not only with Treasury's interest in the, bond buybacks that can do with stablecoins, is what if we see Facebook come back with their attempt at their own Facebook-based stablecoin, right? The marketplace on Facebook is still big. Even though Facebook itself sucks, Facebook Marketplace and then Bring a Trailer are where I spend most of my time kind of moving through all the different things for sale. It'd be interesting to see if Mark Zuckerberg comes out and tries out that Libra stablecoin attempt once again. We'll keep an eye on that as it goes. Also keeping an eye on the US dollar, which is breaking down, lost more than 10% of its value this year, worst half of the front end of this year in almost 40 years. So not a great start to the year in 2025 for the US dollar, losing 10% of its buying power. This is why we Bitcoin, folks. This is why I have no problem saving in Bitcoin and not losing my buying power in exponential ways, not only through the average US dollar index or the DXY, but also through the secret loss of buying power through inflation. So that is something to see here. Midwest Picker bringing up something that's been in the field. It's like the Grinch that stole Christmas today. The Grinch that stole Altseason. Where is your comment here? I want to find it. It's a good one. Midwest Picker here. All right, there you are. There are companies like Strategy that buy Bitcoin, the new altcoin market. I think they're front running the altcoin market pretty heavily. DZ had shown it earlier, but the coin performance on Wall Street looks like what altcoins general sector has looked like, but then absolutely skyrocketed. Coin is now trying to break all-time highs. So, I think that it's almost like how the M2 money supply front runs Bitcoin's price to a general degree, not to the precise T. I think that we're seeing Wall Street plays of crypto adjacent access kind of front running the overall interest in upswings for altcoins, from my personal opinion. But something that's not an opinion is the dollar is sliding off a cliff, and I have no problem saving into Bitcoin. And really, the aggravating part about it is that, I save into Bitcoin, and the whole play is like, need a bigger house for the kids, all these things that I'm doing. Not really interested in doing the rental industry. But saving in the dollar to get to that goal makes less and less sense. Saving in Bitcoin makes more and more sense. every single year that I'm alive and paying attention to these markets with a hyper focus, as I do every single day. And CZ given some great words of advice here. If you sold the dip, you need to unfollow weak minds and follow the right people. This is very important. There's going to be a lot of losses if you follow the wrong people, a lot of pain, a lot of capitulation, and usually they're the ones that are end up buying the top of these charts on altcoins, and selling the lows because they give up conviction, they give up their hope. So I really like this take from CZ. Very base take indeed, as sufficient of his highlighting. And now we get into Michael Saylor replying to Metaplanet's balance sheet being a Bitcoin rating of 99. This is a Japanese base firm, Metaplanet, that's got a plan of acquiring around 210,000 Bitcoin themselves. This one company out of Japan is trying to get a hold of 210,000 Bitcoin for their own balance sheet by 2027. They're moving hot and heavy to do so. They have a Bitcoin rating of 99. Very, very interesting to see them be the first to pull that off. And as these companies are stacking Bitcoin, BlackRock and those ETF inflows have also remained hardcore. BlackRock ETFs bought 3,200 Bitcoin and 22,000 Ethereum yesterday, June 25th. So we see the inflows looking really strong through not only Wall Street-based Coin and Circle, but the ETFs, the shilling from the powers of be of BlackRock and those like it have remained strong, and people continue to buy into those sections as well. And this from the White House talking about the U.S. Bitcoin plan. Let's have a listen to this.
Those are top of mind for everybody, working on digital assets in the White House. There will be the forthcoming report on the interagency activities. We've already taken some steps with the SPR. How do we follow that up with the, accumulation plan? So there's no shortage of opportunities and things to do. So after we leave here, I'll get right.
The U.S. White House talking about an accumulation plan for Bitcoin. Now, what I see here is really the plan to actually accumulate actively for Bitcoin is probably going to be kicking in 2026, potentially even pushed all the way back to 2027. It's going to take a while for the U.S. government to get the allowance to actively buy Bitcoin. Swapping out for, budget neutral assets, I could see happening more quickly than actively buying. But this is something that we need to front run before it actually goes down. And I'd say it might be as short as a half a year, up to 2 years for this to actually start going into place. But we see this happening, the U.S. government getting their knife nice and sharp to get ready to cut down short-term holders and accumulate Bitcoin, while a major upgrade has come to single family and our basic buying power for homes that, because basically all of my value is in Bitcoin and crypto. So when I see things like this is a major upgrade. After significant studying and keeping in with President Trump's vision to make the U.S. the crypto capital of the world, today it was ordered that the great Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have prepared their businesses to count cryptocurrency as an asset for a mortgage. This is a big deal. There's a lot of lost valuations that the single family housing market has had by not acknowledging Bitcoin as a portion of people's, hard-sided buying assets. This is a major nod that, yes, Bitcoin is going to be taken very seriously. The crazy part about this is, obviously this is going to include Bitcoin, but where this might end up going to, DZ was highlighting it really well on the Discover Crypto channel this morning. It's like, what if they're valuing, Fartcoin, which has been going all over the place, Cardano, all of these 10 million altcoins that are out there. That's where things could get really crazy. And the size of the real estate market is pretty underestimated. The real estate market in the U.S. is expected to reach a value of $136 trillion by 2025. Among the various segments, residential real estate poised to dominate this with a projected volume of 110 trillion in the same year. Looking ahead, the market anticipated the exhibit in a steady annual growth of 3.3%, resulting in market volume of 155 trillion by 2029. This is a massive, massive industry that is now giving the nod that, yeah, Bitcoin, we want you, boo. We're going to acknowledge you, boo. This is a massive, massive move. Me personally, I'm going to be taking advantage of this, of course. Seeing these FHFA rules roll back. U.S. Housing FHFA is now determined that the consideration of additional borrow assets and enterprises in single-family loan risk assessments may enable enterprise assess to the full spectrum of asset information available on reserves and facilitate sustainable home ownership and credit-worthy borrowers. Now, this is going to have to be on centralized exchanges. They're not going to look at, our own Arculus wallets to do so. So it has to be on federally approved, regulated exchanges, unfortunately. But you know what? You can just swap it out of the Arculus. And again, shout out to the channel partner here, Arculus Cold Storage Wallet, for keeping holding the line down, being a great partner for the blockchain basement. If you don't already have a cold storage device to take control of your assets and make sure you are your own bank, use code BASE20, get 20% off it. We got the link down in the description there. So this is a massive move, and it really plays into Binance CZ's comments here that the current American dream is to buy a home. The future American dream will be to own 0.1 Bitcoin, which will be more than the value of a house in the US. This is some shit to think about here. At the rate that things are expanding, I could see 0.1 Bitcoin being worth more than a house in 15 years from now. Not too terribly far away. And life comes at you quick. So this is something to think about. The valuation of homes to Bitcoin is the same as gold to Bitcoin. Everything looks like it's basically going to zero against Bitcoin over the next 100 years here. We have the entire economy being moved online. We have all of our communications being moved online. It is more and more difficult to have in-person interactions because everything is moved online. I like to have a nice balance of real talk with real people, but also I understand that the world is shifting into a technological renaissance. That's where we are right now. And in reference to how large this is for humanity, this is as big of a development as when we designed the pen and we could communicate by writing things down instead of, yapping at each other. This is as big as when we designed the wheel and we could move products and goods from one point to the next without having to hoof it the whole time. This is a major, major advancement to humanity. We're still early on this, which is absolutely great. But something that is growing on the undertone of this is the ecosystem of altcoins. Now, the ecosystem of altcoins, yes, it has been overlooked so far, but I think there will become a kind of a breakpoint moment in especially this real estate industry, opening up its acceptance and acknowledging crypto assets in terms of being an actual asset evaluation and credit. I think that there's another play to this with real world assets, representation of those home deeds on a digital platform that will do away with a lot of the middleman work that we see right now with real estate agents and all these people in between that are catching their 2-3% of the deals. I think a lot of this is going to see automation over the next 20 years. And this is why we need to pivot into finding ways to make our money work for us before that time frame comes. There's a lot of people that got kind of used to the, data coding and, coders. And I think that there's going to be a place for a few of them. But with AI coming out and being able to do its own coding, I'm going to watch the hell out, man. I'm going to watch the hell out. Life's coming at you quick. That's why I take this stuff very seriously, is because of how fast these things are advancing here. Now, let's hop into the next story here. We got global TVL in crypto is hitting an all-time high of $365 billion. Top 5 companies and protocols by TVL: Tether, Circle, Aave, Lido, and then what was MakerDAO, now known as Sky. These are their aggregated valuations here, hitting $365 billion. A major, major inflow. A lot of focus here. What is the common denominator here? It's DeFi. It's yield. This is a stable coin, TradFi super cycle. Now, the back end of this, I think, is going to be the speculation on good alts, but you have to be patient enough to get to the party. You have to be patient enough to hold through the lows, through the boring time frames. You know, we have Bitcoin sitting here. Where are we at? We're at $106,000 or something like that. Let's go look at this.
107.1.
107.1.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
let's look at this. I mean, because altcoins look horrible, right? We have a lot of Ethereum is barely up. BNB and Tron have been actually some of the stronger ones out there. XMR, another one of the strongest out there. Aptos getting its moment of relief here. Aptos is a tough one for me to be super excited about consistently. It has its moments, but altcoins in general are getting bludgeoned here. And Bitcoin, if it loses $100,000, then you'd see ADA in the sub 50-cent realm. You'd see Solana getting near $100. There's a lot of waiting game going on for these altcoins. So it's about being able to be patient enough to get for that short-term speculation zone, realize it's there, and then take the profits into Bitcoin and or real estate when the time comes. So it's a tough ride. If it was easy, everyone would do it. And something else that was absolutely crazy for me to see was Donald Trump. He came out, official White House account, dropped this Daddy's Home music video. We're going to get demonetized and play. Daddy's home for me. This is insane, bro.
Such a good song, bro.
This is so insane. I can't even, and we're going to have to cut it out after the show, probably, because they'll freaking nuke us off the internet. This is Trump on his arrival from the NATO conference, talking about him being the daddy of the world here. And honestly, if he hadn't stepped in, Bibby would have probably kept going. Let's be real here. Like if we had Joe Biden or Kamala Harris just flopping in the leadership seat, the Democrats had control of the United States, we would still see Bibby going after it. Do you think so?
It's my humble opinion that if we had Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, we would have been in this war way earlier than we are, than we've experienced the conflict.
That's a good point too.
I was talking to one of my friends. He leans more towards the liberal side, but he's like one of my closest friends. We talked about it the other day. He was like, "Yeah, right now I'm kind of in the middle because I know for a fact that if Kamala was or Biden was in place, we'd be in the war. We'd have already been in this conflict and would have been way worse than it is now." And Trump, we did it in 3 to 6 months terms. 3 months with her in office, she would have ruined it, and we would already been
right because they were moving to that collision course regardless.
Yeah,
right? It was pretty clear. That's a good point.
The matter of when and how long, and if there was going to be peace deals in the talks like they were with.
Yeah, I mean that's a damn good point. God, dude, what happened to Hex? What happened? I see this crazy comment here. Where did it go?
Crazy Hexicans, where are you at?
Wild XRP has less clarity than Richard Hart's pulse chain Hex. God, is that a Hexican? Maybe.
I don't know.
Shout out to Byron for sending
Hardy.
Jesus, 10 memberships. What a badass! Appreciate you, man. I appreciate you, dude. I wonder if Hex is still alive. I mean, we looked at it a few weeks ago, and it was not looking well. Gal, I've been chasing around the Hex chart for some time. I want to make sure I'm looking at the right chart. You got the Hex pulse chain. You got the old Hex chart. Which Hex chart is it? Which Hex chart? I want to just show the chart. Now, this crazy comparison here from Flatulence. 1920, these little clips, the exact same as 2025. Paper clips have not changed in hundreds of years. These big pens, still the same thing. And Ethereum in 1983 was $2,400. 2025, we're right back there again at $25. What a world to live in. What a world to live in. Ethereum has been absolutely maddening. Absolutely maddening. Let's hop on over to the charts to see why it's been so maddening. Where's Bitcoin at right now? Are we in any sort of trade zone?
Not really. I
want to fire one off.
It's a good trade.
I want to fire one off and shock. I love firing off trades on the show here. 165 looks juicy. All right, we're going into the charts, folks. Going into the charts. Bam. Bam. All right, let's see here. So this might be a spot. This might be a spot of 106.3. All right, so Pulse Hex and E Hex doesn't matter. What do you mean? Which chart should I look at, bro? Give me the fucking chart. What is going on here? Peter John Laram, ETH. Yeah. ETH is this is the comparison of what ETH is in our current day and age. Where the hell did these cats go?
No, ETH was not around in 83, guys. Come on.
They gotta know that I'm messing around. They gotta know I'm messing around. But honestly, like ETH has been completely asleep. It's been sleepy. Let's hop on over to the charts here. So Bitcoin dominance is where we start this conversation at. How's the Bitcoin dominance looking on the weekly? Thick to the upside, violent, like Lizzo. Let's see here.
I want to say that's violent.
Dude, imagine you get her order wrong at a fast food joint.
Yeah, then she's gonna what? Like step on you and
you're gonna try.
She's gonna try, but can she even get her leg up that high? No.
Yeah.
But you know
this 65.8%. Jesus. And I have this like terrifying red zone, bro. 70%.
Do you think it'll actually hit 70%?
Like it hit it multiple times. Like
yeah.
It doesn't seem like in this freaking parabolic hockey stick pattern that I drew a while back is actually playing out, bro. So
what about like in the near future? Like what do you say the time frame of 70% Bitcoin dominance is?
I mean, if it keeps on the pace that it's going right now, like let's say it just chunks and then there's like a spike up to it, by August, September, hopefully this is the hope for altcoins, that we see this run out of steam and there's a lot of action here and reason for it to at least come back down, and I'm not expecting it to break down to this 40% realm. 50% is what I think is best as we can get out of the amount of Bitcoin dominance. Already over 7. And this is a great point from Byron. Bitcoin dominance is already over 70% if you remove the altcoins. Excellent point. Absolutely excellent point. So let's go look at Ethereum here. Because there is a point where it's like it's been suppressed and beat down so bad. The violent return, like when you get beat down like this, it's almost like a villain arc. You know what I mean? Where it's like you get beat down, beat up, and then finally you get that moment to come back at, and you just punch a hole straight through the head. Let's see here. So the top end of this box is basically where we're bouncing at, which is an interesting thing to look at. I've not looked at this particular chart in quite some time, and I have this box for just the general range of trappedness, when we're fighting to get out of it at 104 to $2,200 essentially. We are bouncing off of that top end there, which is interesting. On the weekly, we're showing a red dot, but money flow is coming back up to the upside. Very interesting. Let's go over here. And on, beyond all feelings, I'm looking at data. We have a series of higher lows on this range within the 15-minute. Okay.
There is also a higher low on the "You are banned" button. You're banned,
bro.
You're banned.
Oh my God. Hold on. Oh my God. All right. So yeah, that's interesting that the essentially 2200, 21.5 held on that death spiral from the Iranian shutting down of the Strait of Hormuz. That's what this action is right here. It's like the Israeli-Iran 12-day war and the Strait of Hormuz, which handles about 1/5 to 1/4 of all oil movements, got shut down momentarily by Iran, and it really punched the market down. Now it's trying to reclaim and steady out on this shelf. Let's see how old this shelf is. I'm not gonna lie, I'm starting to get kind of interested in maybe looking at catching the, just in this trading range, catching this, we could be reasonable about it and look for like a 12% kind of a swing trade, I guess you could call it. It is at the bottom echelon of this because it's the original pump 2 moment. It's acting as this support. It held up. I mean, you could say it punched down, which it did, but there was a lot of macroeconomic BS going on to get us down to that level. Kind of looking enticing. Not going to lie here. Let's see here. I'm just looking at this from a trading standpoint. I am seeing a lot of action here. So about like 23.5, 2400 would be snazzy. Currently, we're right above that. Shit, I might have to look at this.
Yeah.
And I feel weird doing this. Did we actually get the correct pulse chart here? I want to see if we did.
No, I don't believe so.
I want to look at it. I want to look at the freaking chart.
I honestly don't care for hexagons so much.
Hex,
my humble opinion.
Hex rat pulse.
Deported hexagons.
My heart goes out to the holders. Okay, Isaac.
You want to show them what your heart going out to them looks like?
What's that? Yeah, I mean, I do.
You want to do the Elon thing?
Hex and wrapped pulse.
My heart goes out to you.
Oh my God. Okay. I think this is it.
It looks like it.
This is it. I think it is. Let's take the contract address. Go to deck screener. Because I feel bad, dude. I honestly and I hope that I have a reason not to feel bad and that they're doing good. But I just feel like, oh my God. Okay.
How fun.
Jesus Christ, bro. Okay. So that's nuts. We got to move on from that. That's absolutely crazy. So let's keep talking about Ethereum altcoins. Just be careful out there. Okay. Just be careful out there. There's a great comment from Paulus. 2015 cryptocurrency will change the world. 2025 now. Hello. Yes, I'd like to collateralize my new home purchase with Fartcoin. That's the stage of the alt season that we're in right now. But we are seeing some interesting things. Bit Digital is transitioning not into a Decepticon, but to a pure play Ethereum staking and treasury company. So now this Bitcoin mining firm shut down its mining operations. It will sell 417 Bitcoin and redeploy all of its proceeds into ETH and deploying its focus into Ethereum staking and becoming an Ethereum treasury firm. That is something kind of crazy to think about here. Is it a bad? I want to know from the chat. Is this a bad choice? Or do they look at this Ethereum chart and they see the potential trading opportunity that I am looking at too? Thinking it's an L? Are they trying to grab this upswing? Because Ethereum, if it was to just basically, if this was a underperformance this market by a long shot and had lower highs for all-time highs, it could still rally by 69% from where it sits right now. It could still rally by 69% from where it's at right now. This is something to think about here. Hope Drew gets the band together for Isaac's going away party. Bro, I've been trying to, I called my band members to this morning. One of them refuses to talk because he hates Republicans and he just refuses to talk to anyone because Trump took the election over. So, and then the whole band's disbanded. I need to build a whole new band. That's what it's looking like. Unfortunately, I wish someone you can play a thimble, Sack Nasty. All right. It
works.
MC's only one state over. Yeah, dude. I mean, this chart alone from Ethereum, man, like it does look like good upside. Is even in an underperformance of Ethereum, even in like a completely diminished alt season scenario, if ETH just, let's say even worse, like it came up to here, that's still 50% up from where it could go, from where it is right now. So this is something that actually, from a trading standpoint, I see a series of higher lows. I see these peaks before they even should be at the all-time highs. Like by a timestamp standpoint, we're looking for the all-time highs in this, December, October, September, like the end of 2025, maybe early 2021. This is something, maybe they're not making a mistake. We got to track how they end up doing with this, because if they pull this off and outperform, if this dude pulls this off and outperforms Bitcoin just in the short term, going to create a lot of haters, but honestly, good money for the company here. So we'll see if that goes down. And we are still waiting on the finalization of Ethereum staking with ETFs as well, which has been a large conversation in the back of my mind about when we actually see that hyper FOMO from Wall Street into ETH. But what we are seeing hyper FOMO from Wall Street into coin. Coin has jumped 3.6%. Let's go hop on over to the coin and the circle charts here as well. I think it's very important that we pay attention to these movements. Oh my God. Coin is at $374 a unit, a share right now. Yeah. This is very, very, very good performance here. Very, very good performance. Now, and this is basically a cup and handle type moment here. Let's do a measurement from this to about that midline right in the middle of the volume there, and go from the handle point to that volume. This could absolutely break out and go beyond that because a lot of people got burned when they bought this when it initially came like publicly available in the $400 mark. This actually looks like it wants to reclaim that levels. Very, very interesting movement from Coinbase stock. And let's go take a look at Circle. Yesterday, we were pulling back just a tad. Let's see if we've gotten any reasonable pullbacks. It's a very new stock release, so I'm being careful about entry points here, but does look like it bounced off of that break point. We were looking at this yesterday. It's at $225 right now. Another one to keep on our radar. And honestly, it's going to continue to give me FOMO. I'm going to track this thing and make sure that I have it in front of my eyes. MC got this one at 198. Excellent grab. Excellent grab. $198 was absolutely beautiful entry point, Mr. MC. But these things are front running alt season. I think they're gonna have the limelight for the moment being. But I think things like the Coinbase stock. Where did that go here? We'll go back to Coinbase stock. Coinbase stock looks like the crypto market excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. So in its front running, like where we are, what we just looked at, Ethereum's chart is essentially this. This section is what Ethereum looks like right now. Let's go on over to the Ethereum to do that comparison because it is damn close to what we're seeing here. Let's see. I got to go to a different one. ETH Bitstamp. Okay. So this section right here, where we're at, very similar to this. Very similar to this. So watching that pretty closely, the one big difference I do see in this one is we have higher highs being built up. Ethereum slightly, it's ever so slightly by like $1. So we're keeping an eye on that. I don't think Ethereum's gonna really die. It's just the upside's been very, very muted. Speaking of muted upside, XRP. Judge Torres denied Ripple, the SEC's motion to amend the final judgment, blocking the fast-track $50 million settlement and keeping institutional XRP sales under legal constraint. Now, institutional XRP sales dumping on retail heads, that's something I complain about quite a bit, and in my opinion has suppressed the shit out of XRP's price action. But I also, on the other hand, it's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend, where the old guard of the SEC and how they handled crypto, it's being admitted that it was a massive, massive failure. We have Hester Pierce coming out and talking about that failure. SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce talks about the agency mishandling Bitcoin exchange traded products here. Let's have a listen to this.
Obviously, it's better to be in the position that we're in today than the position when I started at the commission in 2018 and watched as the agency, I think, really mishandled Bitcoin exchange traded products and really how we were thinking about the issues related to Bitcoin. So I'm certainly happy to see that there's a change, that we're seeing a much more reasonable approach from both traditional finance and also from government. But, I think we also have to bear in mind that we don't want to lose the soul of what this is all about. I'm not an advocate for any industry, but I am an advocate for, or any asset, but I'm an advocate for freedom. And I think the lessons that or the experience that we had over the past several years with how Bitcoin was treated is really a good reminder that, the power of government can be employed in ways that are not good.
That's very interesting takes. She's like I think she's number 2 or 3 in the SEC. And more importantly, a lot of her bringing up a lot of her kind of mentorship comes from Paul Atkins, who is the current chair and the King Kugla of the SEC right now. So we have a friendly crypto guard in control, but it looks like Judge Torres is still holding XRP accountable for those institutional sales of XRP tokens under this legal constraint. So no early ending to this lawsuit. And what a weird dress. Yeah. Who is this? Nikita's highlighting. This is Space Invader dress. I wonder what my wife thinks about this dress. My wife is a fashionista.
Yeah.
A bold play, right? Bold for sure. Just kind of an old school vibe there. Maybe that's good. She's known as the crypto mom, Maybe it's good to have that approach. But other things are happening at the SEC. Coinbase is getting in there. Obviously, they got the go-ahead. But Invesco Galaxy is filed for an S1 for a Solana ETF with the SEC. So we have more movements of Solana ETFs. Really, XRP's got some ETFs that are on the cusp of being announced or approved. Also, we see, what is the other we have like a meme coin. What is the meme coin that's got an ETF? Do you remember which one it is?
Shoot, I don't remember which coin it was.
It might be Doge. Chat. Let me know which meme
Doge
coin
was one that had filed for an ETF, I believe.
I know there
was another one.
Yeah,
I swore there was another one.
Meme coin bros are gonna celebrate the shit out of something like that going on. Yeah. Just something to think about here. That B Torres has cost me so much money, man. The psyop against XRP was real. It was such a loaded thing to go through. Like I bought XRP at like 17 cents, and then I see the SEC going after XRP, and I was like, oh man. But then I realized that they're dumping on me every single month, and that's where kind of the radicalization, the crypto radicalization against XRP comes from for me. That's kind of like my villain lore. Pengu. That's right. Pengu. That's right. That's the one. They're going to celebrate that. There's a person. Is there a going away party for Isaac? I mean, you're never going to fully be able to get away from me, Isaac.
Oh, I know. I figured at least when I get back, I know I'll have like a week after boot camp before I go away. I'll just call in from Oklahoma or wherever I'm at.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And we, of course we're gonna party.
I want to party.
And Nicole Shea. Oh yeah. Candle Day.
Remember that?
We had that little. God, that was a fun pizza party.
Yeah, that was fun.
We should try to have another one. Pengu. That's right though. Pengu is the one. Yeah. That's the other. It's like a canary ETF. Thank you very much for highlighting that, Ninja Glock, because I know I had covered it. Let's go look at the Pengu chart, because Pengu was moving earlier this week when they opened the Wall Street, like the NASDAQ bell, which is crazy work.
Oh yeah, I hated that. I remember my little crash out.
Let's see. So it pumped off of that opening bell. Honestly, you have not missed out on anything if you're buying this token right now. Honestly, bro, I'm kind of getting a little bit. Maybe I get a little bit of it. A Pengu ETF is wild work. That's wild AF, Ken. I completely agree with you. Van Eck is pushing Pengu. Like, this is the crazy part, is that I see Pengu ringing the opening bell to the NASDAQ, and then we go to like Van Eck, which is not a small company. Van Eck is giant. And their freaking thumbnail or their profile picture is a Pudgy Penguin.
Kill myself.
Oh my God. Isaac, drill sergeant, watched, invested in Graphane. RIP Isaac. All right.
Yeah, I'd get kicked out probably. You made me lose my life savings because you put in Graphane.
So I heard this from a military buddy. I heard basically a way to deal with, like, if you have a thrice divorced drill sergeant who just is taking out all of that stuff in a legal manner in your training process. Tell me if I'm wrong, chat, but if he makes coffee and cleans with a strong cleaning agent every morning, that'll probably keep him in the safe zone, right? Or at least as safe as possible. I'm thinking of ways to deal with that. Maybe your drill sergeant ends up having bought graphane. You know, he's like, I'm going to follow this Isaac Does crypto character. You must know crypto. Buy graphane. You know crypto well because you got in on the narrative.
I did. I got in on at the right time and got out of it way too late.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
It's okay.
Yeah. Crypto advice. Buy this shit and wait for a greater fool. Profit, lol.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a technique some people play. I feel like I'm surrounded by retail anyways, and it's just the sloshing of $3 trillion between, most of it's contained within Bitcoin. I'm a utility investor, and I'm kind of psychopathic about it. So, I'm able to hold these things for a really long time. Isaac hooks his drill sergeant up with crypto tips and gets promoted. At least, Ellie's highlighting. Isaac actually has shoulders now. Okay, this young man has grown.
Yeah, remember? I don't know if who was here when I first came on the show, dude. Let's just put this. I was a bitch. I was a skinny,
you're like in puberty zone though. Like you had.
Yeah, I was pretty soyish though.
But you really changed, man.
I've been really radicalized, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, it is. And now our U.S. military has another cadet.
Yes, indeed.
Oh my God. Reggie, send me another. I didn't get Reggie's message to get that NFT and the discount code to him. So message me on Twitter, Mr. Reggie. I hope that you're connected with me. Send me a fresh DM in case I missed it. I get a lot of DMs. I try to get to all of them. Things are a little bit fast on the crypto side here when I'm communicating with everyone. So send me another one, brother. Now we have Coinbase launching a wrapped Cardano, CB ADA and Litecoin CBLTC on base. Is this going to move ADA to 60 cents? I didn't get my 60-cent pump out of that freaking interview that Charles Hoskinson was hyping up. I'm going to fight BJ.
Please do. I would love
Cardano. Where is this asset at? All right. So 42% on the year. So we're not like dead on the year. Okay. Let's. God damn it. This is what I get. This is what I get for being an ethos crypto investor. Yeah, what happened to the Diet Coke's meeting? What happened to the Diet Coke meetings? Nothing.
Nothing happened. I guess so.
And you know what? So something else is that anyone who hot reacts to criticism, like we've seen with Hoskinson, yeah. Are you just hot reacting to make up for something? Maybe. Maybe.
Should I change the thumbnail right now to Drew getting arrested because he wanted to?
Right, like Drew, the public crypto trader, questioned responses of inquiries to the Cardano Foundation.
And accidentally punched him in the face when he gave him a wrong answer.
Yeah, like anyone who hot reacts to criticism like that. Jesus. Bitch. Jesus. Unbelievable. I'm going to get VJ back on the phone about this.
Please do.
We need to talk about this. I'm glad that this is like a small percentage of my bag because I'd be crashing out pretty bad right now. Speaking of crashing out,
oh God,
here's a thread of Lori Lightfoot moments: losing re-election and immediately going to a Walgreens to buy a 24-pack of Modelo. Here's Beetlejuice herself, zoomed in right there. And this is just par for the course. So Lori Lightfoot not looking great. Close second, but no one will ever beat her on X. Lightfoot is being accused of using obscene derogatory language in heated meeting. My dick is bigger than yours and the Italians. I have the biggest dick in Chicago, said Lightfoot. Then when she appeared on TV wearing this Clorox wipes, the Rona Destroyer, the Census Cowboy, nice, and the was it Psycho Eyes,
Sure.
Soku Eyes or whatever, the serial killer eyes. She's got those there, so that's nice. And when she gave a limo service a bad review, and they gave a response going to point by point, showing how terrible of a customer she was, and this Lori Lightfoot showing off her Super Bowl food table. God, this lady, I cannot wait for her to be out of the media limelight. But got to give a kind of a rundown of my wonderful experience in history with Lori Lightfoot out of Chicago on her way out, as wokeism dies in every city across the country because they see that it is a failed approach. What is that?
Except for New York.
Except for New York.
Except for New York.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. New York is crazy work, dude. Look at this. This is the Democrat Zohran Mamdani.
Quick with that.
I was quick with that, dog. I had that queued up. You know what I'm saying? Let's listen to this crazy person.
And I know that Jewish New Yorkers, like Jewish Americans, are fearful in this moment of anti-Semitism. They're fearful, especially after the horrific attacks that we saw in Washington, D.C. and in Boulder, Colorado. And they're fearful also in conversations that I have heard myself about life in this city. And I spoke to a Jewish man in Williamsburg not too many weeks ago who told me about the fact that he now locks the door that he used to close, that he used to keep open for years because of a fear of who may come in. I spoke to a friend of mine after October 7th who told me about going to his synagogue for Shabbat services and hearing the door open behind him and turning around with a tremor going up his back, not knowing who was walking in and what they wished for them. And ultimately, it's through the conversations I've had with Jewish New Yorkers that I have developed a proposal for the Department of Community Safety that would include an 800% increase in funding for hate crime prevention programs. Because ultimately, we cannot simply say that anti-Semitism has no home in this city or no place in this country. We have to do more than talk about it. We have to tackle it. And that's what we will do through this funding and through this commitment. We will root out bigotry across the 5 boroughs.
So they're going to root out and preemptively root these things out. Is this Minority Report? Is this governments looking into what messages we're seeing? Like, we're seeing people being arrested in the UK and in Germany for their media posts and words, not threats, words. I wonder if New York is going to try and attempt the same thing. I wonder if we're going to see the same attempt here. Also, crazy work out of the Democrats. Chuck Schumer hospitalized. I wonder if we got a reason for Chuck Schumer being hospitalized. Let's go see, because I know this broke from Polymarket last night. Incident reportedly did not have anything to do with his raw burgers and cheese. That's God. Oh, okay. So he's just dehydrated, feeling lightheaded during scorching heat wave. That sounds like someone I trust to run the country there. Getting cooked by the sun. All right. TSA is also urging travelers not to present Waffle House cards at security checkpoints because they do not qualify as a valid ID. They're not a real ID for your air travel. So I just had to give it a shout out to it. If you are in Georgia, we all love our Waffle Houses. Your Waffle House official ID, your forklift certification card, it ain't gonna work. Okay. Shit. All right.
However, don't eat Waffle House. It's not good for you. You will feel like you want to die 5 minutes after you eat the food.
You know, there are some that I like. There's one Waffle House in Hiram that does a good job. Every single other one of them, it's like you think you're gonna like see a giant fight and chairs start flying across, and some 5-foot chick named Trina out of the trailer park knocking bitches out. You know what I mean?
This is a very off-topic Waffle House story, but we were in, what was it, North Carolina? We were coming back from a snowboarding trip. No, South Carolina. We were in North Carolina for the snowboarding trip. And my brother got stuck in a Waffle House bathroom for 30 minutes. And I called my father, and he laughed at him through the door about getting stuck in there. And we called the fire department. I was literally next door, and they had to go kick the door down. The reason why the lock got stuck is because that same morning at like 3, 4 in the morning, some guy was running from the cops and locked himself in there and like shut it tight. It's great. So funny.
Bro, I mean, Waffle House has its place, man. Like, you know, and you know what? They got my son addicted to waffles. So every time I'll take my son to like a fancy breakfast place saying, you don't have waffles? And he looks at him. It's like this shocked look, and his eyes start twitching and stuff.
Are you crazy?
Waffle House fatigue, man. Waffle House fatigue is real. All right, Nvidia. Talking about some other stocks that are doing good. Setting up a golden cross for the first time since January of 2023. The last time these moving averages crossed, we pumped on Nvidia by 700% over the next 2 years. It looks like the AI excitement played in for a few years. The reset happened from the trade negotiations, the tariff war, and now those moving averages are ready to send it once again. It'll be interesting to see this in tandem, how it reacts, if it plays into the AI altcoin season, altcoin market as well. But I think AI adjacent movements are going to be pretty strong on Wall Street. So don't fade AI, nuclear power production. There's a lot of different aspects that are going to make money in this market. You just have to know where they are. Pretty sure Nvidia is worth more than the entire Chinese stock market. Bro, can you do some checking for me on that while I'm covering the next stories here?
Yeah,
I'll handle the sticks.
Just
I want to know that.
By me again.
Yeah, is Nvidia worth more than the entire Chinese stock market? We need to figure that out because that'd be crazy work. A record $20 billion in tariffs have been collected in June. Major movements being collected in terms of tariffs of goods coming into the United States. Lots of money being collected from these tariffs. Very interesting move. Highlight from Kelly Kellum from the BitLab Academy talking about July 9th being the deadline for trade deals. Jerome Powell setting up a soft setup for rate cuts. Now, I've seen this rumor that there's talks of July rate cuts, but I want to see if that's a reality here on the Fed CME tool. What do we got for in terms of, is Nvidia bigger than Chinese stock market?
Let's take a look here. Nvidia's market cap was equal to the Hong Kong listed Chinese stock market as of February 2024. And its growth to 3.6 trillion by June 2025. It remains comparable as of right now. For
just as big or as slightly bigger than the entire market?
I think.
Holy God.
Just as big.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that ain't nothing to scoff at. That's crazy. July rate cuts still improbable. So 22%. And this is ticking up. Like, this was a very, very low expectation previous to the last conversation Jerome Powell had in a public manner. Since the last week, we've increased to a 22% chance. I still think it ain't going to happen. I think the beatings will continue until morale improves. So what we got here is more likelihood in September, and then October are looking pretty good. Ooh, are we looking at a good solid 3? Okay. So now this December has become more hard-sided. Yes, we're going to get another rate cut in December as well. Okay. Bro, that would be nuts if this ticks over and we actually get a rate cut in July, and then they remain with these 3 months expected rate cuts as well. That'd be a full base point hold off of interest rates for the remainder of the year. That's hyper juice for alts. That's hyper juice for risk assets. That's very, very interesting. Okay. And 22%, Ken's saying, is pretty good odds. I mean, that's way better odds than we had last week. Something crazy too. Corn is collapsing in 2025, continues to price plunge to their lowest level since October, it looks like. So October of 2020, October 21st. Yeah. So of this year, a huge pullback in corn price, which might soften, production costs and things of that nature. This is a crazy comparison. $2 billion it took to produce Grand Theft Auto, the latest version, and $2 billion is what it costs for a B2. So, what would you rather have? A video game?
B2.
Or, right.
Not a question. Give me a B2. Those are
unbelievable. Just crazy comparison. Now, prediction markets are growing fast. We talked about Poly Market and its massive valuations. Now, Kalshi also coming out, excited to announce $185 million Series C valuation of Kashi at $2 billion. Prediction market Kalshi is a competitor of Polymarket. Both of these hitting multi-billion-dollar valuation levels. Something to keep an eye on. Now, in real life, the real world, we go through tornadoes. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Footage of from a camera, brief tornado ripped through a neighborhood, lifting mobile homes off the ground in Florida, Largo, Florida. This is absolutely nuts. You know what? I talk about the reasons for being prepared. This is one of the main reasons. You know, it's more probable to get hit by some sort of natural disaster than the possibility of a nuclear bomb going off in the United States. So for that reason, you know, I have, you know, the preparedness mindset goes into being ready in case I get hit by a natural disaster as well. And thank God I don't live in Germany. So now Germany apparently doesn't have free speech. This is absolutely crazy work. Let's watch.
So Germany just conducted police raids against 170 Germans over alleged hate speech cases. Their homes were raided in early morning operations, with some also being targeted for insulting politicians on the internet. Imagine that, 6 a.m. breaking into your house to arrest you over something you said online. One of them.
See, this is the slippery slope to tyranny that we need to ensure never happens here in the United States. Yes, Germany is far away from the United States, but holy shit, that is absolutely crazy. Let me know, my viewers out there, if you guys are located in the UK or in Europe. Absolutely nuts, absolutely insane. German's gonna rise up again. Honestly, kind of need it.
Restore the former glory that Germany once was.
Bro. Oh my God, bro. Holy cow. Hope I never search my browser history, crypto colonizer. Oh wow. All right, and China got hit by a flood as well. This is like one of the biggest floods China's ever seen. God, Isaac, you killed me. Oh, bro. So this is in Guizhou province. I'm not even going to try and say these names, but this is a massive flood. Okay. 80,000 people were evacuated, 50,000 people from these two provinces. Worst flood ever recorded in the region. Experts call it a once in 50-year event. Floodwaters are now surging downstream, threatening even more cities. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this video to play. I got a lot of stuff going on. All right, so Retro Beast says he's based in the UK, turning into a powder keg ready to blow. Whew. Tofu concrete in China. What the hell is that? You know, my prayers are going out to the people in China. I feel really bad to see this going down. This is probably not going to help their real estate industry by a long shot either. Oh my God, they use the wrong sand, so their parking deck columns are crumbling. That's a problem. That's a problem here. So, you know, I feel bad for the people that this is happening to. I do acknowledge that this is going to put more pressure on their already in trouble real estate market, and having paper mache buildings is probably not going to help the problem either. So that's absolutely crazy. Now, in terms of trades, where did we end up on Bitcoin by the end of the show here? We're still writhing, sloshing around in this $107,200 level. You suffer. Holy God, bro. Thanks for the super chat, that guy.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm not being saying that online.
All hail Isaac. Bro. Okay.
The time has come to rise up, my friends.
Oh my God. Just a money laundering. Yeah. The Chinese real estate market is basically one, like, it's even worse of a money laundering scheme than the United States. And they've ended up with ghost cities, you know, a vast majority of their GDP locked up in their real estate as their real estate slows down. The need to print money increases exponentially. This is why we saw China cutting the rates before the United States. This is why we saw China printing money before the US. Talked about it before it happened years ago. It's going down. The M2 money supply is laughable. It's going to end up, the US is going to end up at around, you know, $44 trillion in debt in the next 10 years. That's easy for me to say. If it goes to 50, that outpaced my expectations of how bad things are going to get. But as this system continues to crumble, it is falling into the hands of Bitcoin, and the value of having proof of work being the baseline, the power that you have to spend to get that data block of Bitcoin solidified. This is how we can really change monetary systems over the next 50, 100 years here. And we got another $10 for Isaac, man. You're really
thank you very much, Legend. I appreciate the super chat. It does help out the channel. Thank you for supporting the channel. Obviously, we love all y'all. We love giving you all the alpha and love goofing around making dumbass jokes.
Yeah, it's really good.
Our days.
Americanized gobbles. I wonder what that is. I wonder what that is.
I think we should look that up outside of Showtime, though.
Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. I want to see. Americanized gobbles. I want to find this. I'm going to type it into Google here. Americanized gobbles.
I don't know. My eyes grok.
You ain't give me nothing. It's just pictures of chicken.
Americanized gobble.
Oh. I'm a very Americanized Luxembourgish background, so you're correct in that sense. Well, we're going to send it on over to Veteran Crypto at Crypto DeFi and Airdrops and check out everything that he's doing on the blockchain there. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for dropping us the memberships, the $10 for Isaac on his path to being the next God Emperor of the United States. And we're going to make sure to hit the gym, take care of the kiddos, and have a blessed day. I love and appreciate every single one of you out there in the chat. Thank you for supporting the channel and keeping us up during this downturn of excitement. We holding the line here, trading, doing DeFi, making the bucks. Love and appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.
We ride that